welcome Buddy Book Club. I'm Dylan, here with a guy who only murders altruistically. Keith, what's up, buddy?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You didn't have one for me? No backsies? All right, we're breaking down some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing The Housemaid by Freda McFadden. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to us in past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com, or slide into our DMs on X or Instagram. That's Buddy Book Club Podcast. You can listen to us iTunes, Spotify, wherever your podcast. So please download, subscribe. 5-star reviews are encouraged, please, and thank you. Keith, I feel like we usually, when we have these conversations, these book clubs, if you will, there's a little back and forth banter in text. Usually it's like, this book's, I'm enjoying it, or it's a slog, or sometimes you'll just say, I'm sorry, when you recommend a book. I didn't get the I'm sorry from Ellie, so I'm
noted, yeah.
But no, what I was going to say was we didn't really have any back and forth, so I'm really going into this blind.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Wanted to keep the twist
to
the podcast.
How you feel about it. So I am excited to talk with you about it. The Housemaid 4.3 on Goodreads, which is interesting because when I went to Goodreads and looked at a bunch of the reviews, it seemed like everything, at least on the front page, was negative, besides a few people who did reviews in emoji form. And those seem positive, but I don't trust any of those people anyways. If the review involves bae or slay or really anything that rhymes with that, I'm out. Stock up, stock down. What do you got for stock up?
Stock up, torture.
Oh.
I'll burn through the best scene and spoil the book early, but the taste your own medicine torture, it gets me going. It does it for me. There's nothing better than when the shoe's on the other foot, or the power dynamic flip. Now how do you like it type mentality. I loved it. And I mean, honestly, when they cut away and they skip ahead 5 days, I was pretty pissed. I wanted to be there for that 5 days. Yeah. Show me the whole torture stuff. Give me all of that. Feed it to me. Because Andrew deserved it. But if you think about it, what Millie did was a bit psychotic. The reason we know Andrew deserves it is because we have the context as the reader of knowing the whole story. Mm-hmm. From her perspective, I would think, at least, if I'm just her and you don't know anything, Andrew just had a psychotic break. He's like, something's going on with him. He's being a crazy person. And I also would think Nina would be in on it because Nina's crazy. Andrew must have had some sort of break too. There must be some pills they're taking or something that's making them go crazy. That's what I would think. Mm-hmm. But she finds the pepper spray and then is like, builds this whole backstory that we know and decides, I'm going to torture this motherfucker for 5 days. That's kind of a crazy move, right? And it's not like she had no other choice. All the evidence is there. She has his phone, which has a videotape set up into her room, looking at her. She has all the stuff that's there. And if she actually does think that Nina was also being tortured, then you just say, yeah, I got tortured in this room. Here's Nina. She also got tortured in this room. She'll back up my story. There's multiple points of evidence pointing to what's happening to them. And then also he was saying that he was watching past videotapes of her. So there's evidence on the phone of historical of her getting tortured. So it's all there.
The whole thing of how they can't go to the cops because he would just say, oh, you've been in an insane asylum or XYZ. There's physical evidence of this abuse.
Yeah.
Via
there's even
this
scratches on the
live
door,
stream.
which before she got there. So couldn't she just be like, oh, I was up there. There's scratches on the door.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff. But I also don't think it's too far-fetched for Millie to put the pieces together to some degree that he is actually psychotic.
But why would you think that Nina wasn't?
Yeah, I think tying in the Nina thing and basically the second you see some pepper spray being like, oh, Nina, you left that pepper spray for me. So, maybe. I don't know how that seems like a leap. But thinking that he is not just having a break, and even if he is having a psychotic break, then mess him up. But whatever she did, she goes far. She does the extra work, which, I mean, she murdered that guy before who was, raping her college roommate or something like that. And good riddance, honestly. But at the same time, she bashed his skull in until it was unrecognizable, right? That was how she killed him. So
yeah, she's about that life. Yeah.
Yeah. So when she does, if she's gonna go, she goes all the way, which you gotta appreciate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't think it was necessarily too far fetched, but at the same time, there was a lot of different areas that seemed like you could have gone. Yeah, I agree. I want to see more of that torture. And anytime a bully gets bullied or gets their comeuppance, and it's the same way that they've been, usually it's like a horror movie. They bury people alive and then they get buried alive. It's like, ooh, awesome. Love that. My first stock up is audiobook speed flexibility. So you're a big proponent of this. I think you're now at the point, like you've been hitting this heroin so hard that I think you just standard, even if you're listening to Harry Potter, you're listening to it at like 1.25 speed, right?
Yeah. I would go more like cigarettes, but okay. Yeah, we'll do heroin.
Yeah. So you went from like a smoke here and there to now you're a pack a day.
I'm a full pack.
Yeah.
I went from Virginia Slims to Marlboro Reds. You know how I go.
Yeah, but just having that ability, whether it's through Libby or Audible or Spotify, whatever, however you decide to consume your audiobooks, it's so nice to have because you can't do that when you're reading a physical book. Like I can try to read the book faster, but I'm so focused on reading fast that there's 0% chance I'm taking in all the information. Where at like I don't know, how deep have you gone? Have you gone past 1.25?
I'm at 1.3, I think, right now.
Holy smokes. Okay.
It's really not that fast.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because it's professional. If you put us on 1.3 speed, I speak like this. But the people on the audiobooks speak like this. They talk with every single word. That's how they speak.
Yeah,
they don't speak quickly. So I'm just speeding up to normal speed.
I found that anything over 1.2 and it starts to get a little too fast for me.
If you are used to 1.2 and then you go to 1.3, it's not as big of a jump as if you go from 1 to 1.3. Like that seems crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So, you got to ease your way into it. It's like getting in a hot jacuzzi or something like that. But do you remember those infomercials when we were kids about the speed reading? Like people would come on and they'd do speed reading and show how fast.
No, but I went to
read.
A class for speed reading.
Yeah, interesting. I think we've talked about that on the podcast before.
Yeah.
But I was always amazed by those people because they could read a book in like 5 minutes. Granted, I don't know what they were consuming, but it seemed like they got the gist of it. But for this book, I think my general point is for this book, this is like a perfect 1.2 speed book. It's not a long book. It's like 10 hours. It's fine. You know, honestly, it's just fine. It's exactly what you think it is for a mediocre thriller. But you can finish it in 8 hours if you listen to it at 1.2. And there's no like real details. There's things that happen and you just listen to those things happen and you go with it. There's not a lot of deep character building that you really need to focus on. There's not like a world building element that you need to be able to perceive in your mind. It's just some guy is torturing a lady and he then tortures the housemaid and there's some gaslighting involved. That's pretty much the story. So yeah, I just like the ability to have that flexibility so that then I can go and read a book I'm more interested in.
Okay. All right. I'm going to burn my stock down real quick just because it was a quick one anyways,
okay.
But it's the New York accent. Ugh. I hate it. Absolutely. Which is crazy because the narrator is an amazing narrator because she was just doing that accent the whole time, but that's not her real voice. But she was narrating in that.
I thought it was really good. Yeah, the accent was phenomenal.
But I hate the accent. So.
And she did it right in that it wasn't a caricature of someone that was from New York.
I figured that's just her normal voice. Then like we got to someone else's narration. I think it was Nina's narration, and it was just, this is her normal voice now.
I thought it was a different actress. Like I had to look at it. I said, is that the same person? So she slapped that. Did you want to go with another stock up?
This one was common. You knew this. Nissan Sentra, aka American Muscle Car, stock up.
Yeah, of course.
Millie's living out of her car. I mean, it's a spacious, powerful, luxurious Nissan Sentra. I hear 2011 model is the best in the gray edition, or midnight gray, as I like to call it.
That's what you still have. You still have the.
Oh yeah, still have it.
2011.
We're still running somehow. But she kind of needed to take some advice from my boy Billy Burr. This is a modified quote, but it is a quote. Realize that sleeping in a Nissan Sentra American Muscle car when you're 30 is not the worst thing. You know what's worse? Sleeping in a bed in an attic, getting bullied by some terrible woman who's only bullying you so that you'll end up sleeping with an even worse husband who's going to end up torturing you. You'll be laying there in that attic, fantasizing about sleeping in that Nissan Sentra. There's no risk when you go after a dream. There's a tremendous amount of risk when you play it safe, aka go in the attic and be a housemaid. So she should have took that advice and, stock up to the Nissan Sentra.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like I should just burn my stock down now anyways. It's my only one, but I feel like I should burn it because we've kind of been beating around the bush. My stock down is glaring red flags. So I kind of was interested in your take as to at what point are you out as Millie? At what point are you saying, okay, I don't like the vibe here. I'm gone. So she pulls up to the house when she finally gets the job. The gardener, who's acting very odd, basically says to her, get out of here. It's a dangerous place, which would be a little concerning, but at the same time, I feel like I wouldn't leave at that point. And then she gets shown her room, which the door locks from the outside, much more concerning, especially considering that, you're an attractive young woman. It's, exactly what a predator would do. And then lastly, well, I guess this isn't lastly, but then immediately after that, you see the scratches on the door that you mentioned. For me, that's when I'm out. Scratches on the door locks from the outside, guy says dangerous place, I'm out. She continues to stay, and then more glaring red flags come, mostly with Nina pretty much acting psychotic and telling her to do one thing, but then actually the other. The kid's allergic to peanut butter. No, the kid's not allergic to peanut butter. And pick her up from school. No, don't pick her up from school. It's just, that's not even including, smashing plates everywhere and it just being an absolute pigsty, and the job involving you cooking them food when that wasn't in the brief. That's not part of the deal. I'm at least negotiating for more money, but more likely I'm out of there by the scratches on the door. And she kept saying, oh, I can't get another job. I can't do this, because I'm a convict. This is better than living in my car, like you said. No, none of that is true. Live in your car. It's better in jail than whatever this is. This seems like torture.
Well, she's about to be, in jail, yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, it would be when I saw the scratches on the door. But would you last longer until it just got pretty crazy where she was smashing plates and stuff? How would it be for you? As someone who has spent no time in jail, to be clear, because you have not.
It kind of goes back to your real life. If you've ever had a bad boss, I haven't really had one that bad, but how much are you willing to take shit from that person? Especially if you've had one, someone a boss that's I haven't had it. Again, I've heard these experiences of someone taking credit for what you did, or I don't like the word gaslighting, but how about just lying or saying you didn't do something, or saying that they said something that they didn't say, that type of stuff. How much are you willing to take or tolerate of that? I think when you're in an entry-level job that you want to rise up to the top, or you're in a really good job you want to keep, you're willing to eat that shit more. But to your point, living in your car and eating a sandwich is not that much worse than what she has right there. If you're at ground zero, then whatever. Who gives a fuck if you get fired from this job? Just go find another one. So I'd be out of there pretty quick.
For sure. It would be, yeah. Scratches. I'm already thinking that's going to happen to me. So, I'm ready for it. I'm lying in wait. So yeah, the second I see that kind of stuff, I'm out of here. And that always grosses me out in movies when they show something like that. It's like Silence of the Lambs, when she's in the well and sees a fingernail on the wall, somebody that was there before trying to climb out. It's oh, that scares the crap out of me. Yeah.
I would have taken the door off the hinges rather than have that lock. I'd be nah, I'm out.
My other stock up though was stock up to cops looking the other way. I feel like it just doesn't happen anymore, and maybe that's just because everyone has a cell phone and with a camera on it, but it seems like cops escalate as opposed to de-escalate, and they definitely don't look the other way if something's happening. It's let's, they're immediately send him to jail. Do not pass go, do not collect 200. But the cop at the end here, when
pretty fortuitous, huh?
yeah. Definitely nice that the cop on duty happens to be Andrew's ex-fiance's dad. But also the fact that the dad doesn't know. He doesn't even really necessarily suspect that Andrew is seriously abusing people. He just knows they broke up and it ended not ideally, and she moved away and doesn't talk about it at all. So he might have his suspicions because
Yeah.
But I'm not sure he does because he doesn't seem like he's a very good cop.
Well, also Andrew goes after women that don't have parents and they don't have anyone that can support them. Going after a woman that has a dad as a cop seems like the worst thing you could possibly. If she told him that guy's probably breaking in, killing the guy, covering it up. Obviously, like Andrew's dead, right? Go on, sorry.
Yeah, I just thought. Well, you said it was fortuitous, and then it also just seemed like there was a lot more questions to be had to just say, "Oh, this was a suicide." If nothing else, the cop's going to probably lose his job at some point. I mean, the mom wasn't interested. The mom knew what happened. Andrew's mom, which she's a whole different character. I honestly wish we had more of her because she's a straight psychopath. You know,
yeah,
it's like,
that was my favorite character. Obviously.
Yeah, she's the woman behind the curtain. She created this monster, and she's probably more of a monster herself. And they did make a sequel to this book, from what I understand. If I was going to make a sequel, if I was going to make another book in the series, it would be a prequel, and it would be about her. It wouldn't be about Millie. Like, I don't even care about Millie. I want to know what the mom was doing besides just torturing her kid, because no one just tortures their kid. They're going way out there and doing some other stuff too. So, yeah, no one was going to come after Millie, it seemed. Like, the dad was aloof, and the mom seemed like she, was okay with it. But justice definitely wasn't served necessarily. I mean, we're all on Millie's side here that, Andrew deserved it to some degree, or to varying degrees based on your feelings. But it just seems like the cop didn't do his job. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it was a good thing, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it worked out. Is that a twist? Is that what we're talking about when we talk about these thriller books? That's a twist. It's like, oh, can you believe the cop was the ex-fiance's dad? Yeah. That's such an easy out. You can just write that in there. When is someone just going to say, oh, it's a thriller, and then God's hand comes down out of the sky and says,
oh, that was fortuitous.
I'm going to change the whole thing. And they do it sometimes and they do it in like sci-fi type stuff too, where all of a sudden you can change time or they can go back for a couple of seconds. I hate that stuff. I like time travel and whatnot.
What do you feel about like, what did we read there? The island book where the final scene, like the island's burning and they're all running, the kids there, and the Navy shows up.
You're talking about Lord of the Flies?
Yeah, Lord of the Flies. Like that happens there. It happens in like Apocalypto. It happens in a lot of those movies where like the big climax is some other event occurs that comes in.
Well, Apocalypto is a phenomenal movie. I love Apocalypto.
Where like the Europeans come to end the movie.
Yeah, at the end of the movie. Yeah. Which is just cool because there's been so much terrible shit that's gone down, and then you realize that this ship coming up is going to make it a billion times worse. It's like, oh, all right. Yeah, I'm okay with that. The Navy showing up at the end of Lord of the Flies or something like that. Yeah, that's, shit happens. What else do you have for stock up? Do you have any
my last one, Prison Confidence stock up. Oh. I don't know if it was Prison Confidence or Girl Confidence or New York Confidence, or I'm just trying to figure out what this comes from. But the middle of the book, Millie's like, you know what? I'm gonna get some. I'm gonna go up to this Enzo guy, and we're gonna bang midday, not at a bar, not at not like flirty, casually. She's like, just throws herself at him, and he's like, ew, gross, absolutely not. If that happened to me, and I got rejected like that midday during work,
never
that hard. I'd be upstairs. I would have locked the room. I'd have the textbooks on my stomach, and I'd be doing the torture thing to myself. I wouldn't come out for another like 3 days.
I wouldn't have a sip of water. Any liquid I had in my body would be pissed into that bucket shamefully.
Yep. Yeah. You'd be pulling your teeth out.
Yeah, for sure.
I always felt such secondhand embarrassment from that. Literally that night, she's talking to Andrew, and she's like, Andrew likes me. I'm gonna fucking bang Andrew. I'm like, what? How do you have this type of confidence? This just happened midday. So I don't know what it is, but whatever she has, I want some of that because I was torturing myself reading it, just through secondhand embarrassment. But stock up.
Yeah, I'd have friends like that in college or maybe after college. You go out to a bar or whatever, and they'd be like, "Hey, let's go over and talk to those girls," and I'd say, "No, definitely not. Like I'm gonna be over here sitting and praying that someone says something to me. That's just how I go about things.
It is different at a bar. You got a couple beers going. You got your buddies there.
Well,
you get rejected. You go over like, I tried. I said this line. They're like, ha, ha, ha. You laugh it off. You drink a beer.
Yeah.
It's over.
No, I get it. I get it. But my point was more that after they approach that woman and get rejected, I'm like, okay, cool. So should I call you a cab and you just go home and sulk for the next few hours? And they're like, no, I'm going to go talk to these other group of girls. I was like, what? How do you rebound? How do you mentally do that? I would just think I was a total piece of shit and I'd have to go home. That's what I would think. I'd be like, oh, cool. They don't like me. I'm not likable. I have to leave.
Also, if it was like light flirting, she was like, hey, we should hang out. And he's like, no. I'd be like, oh, that's really tough. But at the same time, she was like, let's bang. And he's like, gross.
She's like rubbing his collar or something. I don't even know. She made physical contact, which, I'm like, okay, no, thank you. Yeah. My last stuck up is, and we've done this before, but it's gaslighting. And I think it's been a stock up. It's been a stock down. It's been all over the place on this podcast. And mostly because that word has been poorly used for what the situation is, and now it's a stock up because this is gaslighting, right? What Andrew's doing to both not really Millie, but definitely Nina. It's a form of emotional abuse where someone manipulates another person into doubting their sanity, perception, or memory. Mm-hmm. He does all of that, all three at once, and he makes her believe things didn't even happen to the point that she believes they did happen. That is what gaslighting is. So this guy is going around, pre-industrial England, lighting lamps left and right. I appreciate it for it being a good showing of what gaslighting really is.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the way people use gaslighting now is, the dress that's like purple or gold or whatever. I could say it's gold and you say you're gaslighting me.
Yeah,
because you see it differently, but that's how people are using it. It's like incorrect. Like gaslighting's intentionally doing something to manipulate someone's emotions and thoughts.
And it's the same with memory too, because memories are fallible. I mean, it's been proven time and time again that everyone's memory's fallible. And did you see Heretic, on HBO, the Hugh Grant kind of scary-ish movie?
No.
It was good. We watched it the other night. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was like the best movie ever by any means, but it was enjoyable. But one thing he says in there that was an interesting thought is like your memory of an event is just your recollection of the last time you remembered this memory. Every time you think back, you're not remembering it from the time it happened. You're remembering the last time you thought about it, like your last memory of it. So as it goes down the line, that totally changes. And I can't remember about a story the other day that I was thinking about where I didn't realize if it happened to me or it happened to somebody else. It was like, wait, what? Like it was something that happened in my life. And I was like, wait, did it happen to me or did that happen to this other person who was there? I don't even remember. So yeah, that's another reason why someone might remember something differently and they're not trying to manipulate you. They just don't know. Now that's gaslighting. That was our thesis. What about stock downs?
Family Feud comedy stock down.
Oh, how dare you! I love Family Feud comedy.
So I knew that. I knew that because at one point Millie and Andrew are like watching Family Feud and they're both like, "Oh, I love this show." And like Andrew makes some like quip about it, and she's like, "And he has a good sense of humor too. He's so funny. He likes Family Feud." And I was like, "Oh, Andrew's a psychopath." Like right away. I knew right away. And just how you said you like Family Feud, I was like, oh yeah, I already know you're a psychopath, so that checks out.
Damn
so,
right.
I mean, listen, if you watch Family Feud as like a background, it's a fun little show, great. If you're watching it and being like, I didn't see that one coming, the questions are like, what are something that you put in your mouth? And it's like, and someone's like, uh-oh, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it? And he's like, a phallus, and they're like, "Oh my! I can't believe you would say that. Why would you ever think?"
It's like
that?
You're sick. You're sick. It's the best. There must be like a Family Guy skit on it or something like that.
There definitely has to
because
be,
the best part about it is if you say it and it's on there or it's not on there, you're still sick in the head. But if you don't say it and it ends up being on there, you're an idiot. Yeah. So it's great. I actually have one point. I just hate the idea of asking 100 people. It gets me so angry, but it also is part of the game because I used to have this database of like Family Feud questions. And I think it was like for work if we did like a team thing. I would be like, all right, we'll do like a quick Family Feud. And I would, just peruse through the database here and there. And some of the answers were just terrible. It'd be like favorite fruit. And like the number 5 response would be guava. It's like, come on. Out of 100 people.
I feel like it's made up.
Yeah. No one's saying guava. So what is someone said apple too many times? So someone else, like the guy just wrote in guava, but yeah. I just think, I think Steve Harvey, I feel like Louis Anderson was my growing up one. So I have a soft spot for him, but yeah, I enjoy Family Feud. So sue me.
Mm-hmm. I like Steve Harvey, but don't watch the comedians in cars getting coffee with him or really anything about him off of the show. He's the one of the worst people ever.
How so?
He's like at a cigar. You can probably find the clip. He's at like a cigar place with Jerry, and he's like, "Do you think people can like become like get funnier?" And they're like, "No, we're just like we're so gifted and better than everyone. There's no way that anyone could get to our level. Like we're just that much funnier." They're just like talking like they are funny, obviously, and they are super talented, but they're just talking so arrogantly about something that's. There's hundreds and hundreds of comedians. You know that, right? Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of people that don't think you're funny at all. So I don't know. Just annoy the shit out of me.
I mean, I obviously love Seinfeld, and Jerry's obviously a genius for creating it and all this stuff. But seems like kind of a dick, honestly. And
Buddy always brings up. He had an episode with on that same show with Obama, and he was like comparing himself, like how him and Obama are like the exact same person. It was like. Pump the brakes, bud. Just pump the brakes a little bit here.
Yeah, I don't think Obama was dating a 17-year-old when he was 36 or whatever the case was. So, yeah.
Allegedly, sir.
Not allegedly. It was in the newspapers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like out there. It's like that was real. That was happening.
I mean, because she was born before I was, allegedly she's very attractive though. So I can say that now.
Yeah, I would say she didn't look like a 17-year-old, but she still was. That's what her license said. So maybe she didn't have a license. Who knows? She was right on the cusp. What was your favorite part of the book? I mean, I feel like kind of like what I said earlier was there wasn't a lot going on here, and they spent the entire time just Millie talking about her day and how messed up the things Nina was asking her to do and how they were contradictory. And then we got Nina's background, and then Millie got locked up, and then she murdered him. And we got like a quick chapter of Millie's background of her murdering the other guy. But there was no character development. There didn't seem to be really any necessarily like flow to this. I definitely didn't care much about any of the characters, for sure. When it comes to parts, there's the Anita, her getting gaslit time when she's like thought she killed her daughter or whatever the case is. There's Millie getting her own version of torture from Nina, and then the end. And that's about it.
I keep on bringing up the one thriller I really liked, The Silent Patient. But that's because it had 2 different timelines. It had a mystery element of like solving some mystery, and then there was like this huge twist. So, like there was like everything going on there. And
you knew the characters. Like
correct.
At least the 2 main characters you were rooting for somebody.
Yeah, so what would have been good, I think, is if we had her. The other, like, it was like half this, half in prison. So she's getting yelled at by like security guards at prison, and you're like, oh, this is why she's like subservient to people because she's 10 years in prison taught her to basically be like this to people. It would have made way more sense than someone that's just like getting shit on, and I'd just be like, go fuck yourself, Because especially because at the end of the book, you're like, oh, we put her here because she's a badass. And I'm like, why would this badass take shit from some woman for like 3 months and then and then torture someone? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well,
you're
that
badass.
I'd
be like, fuck you, see you later.
I could not agree with you more. Millie's character just didn't make a lot of sense, where she's, like you said, subservient the whole time. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe I got that wrong, whatever the case is. And then the next thing she's got needle nose pliers and is telling someone to rip their teeth out. Like,
which we love. Yeah,
yeah,
I like
that's
that.
amazing. I'm all for it. But show me that she was faking the first part, or something along those lines. That, the end, how they how they have Millie going to her next job where it's clear that she's going to then murder this other husband that was abusing his wife, that, Nina gave her a recommendation. Okay, but why isn't that what we learn about her from the beginning? That, yeah, I know Nina knew her situation, but she kind of just knew her situation, but fingers crossed, hoped that she would then kill Andrew. It wasn't, nothing was guaranteed there. I wish it was more of a setup, they knew, she knew from the whole time that she was going to murder Andrew. They had a whole plan from the get-go, how Nina was going to kind of be crazy towards her, and then eventually Andrew would take her in, and then she would kill Andrew. That would have been a good twist, where they both knew from the beginning. Not whatever, she's actually taking this beating from Nina, and then she decides to have a guy pull his own teeth out.
Nina's character was abhorrent. I get that she got tortured, but why would you think just pawn it off on someone else like that? I mean, that was one of my hates. Is she's just not a good person at all. And then
it takes Enzo to be hey, Nina, you can't just do that. We have to go back there. And she's like,
right.
Oh, I guess so. You got that big old donkey dick. Fine,
Outside the fact that maybe Andrew would try to find her or whatever, he didn't have any rights to her child. There was nothing that would prevented her from leaving. There was no. It would have made more sense if he had custody of her child. So if she took her, then he'd be kidnapping.
So you're blaming the victim. You're blaming the victim
no,
here.
But
you don't know that she was trapped. No, 100%. I know what you're saying. Yes,
okay.
You're being abused. Yeah, okay. It's you can't. You have this prenup, whatever the case is. It's back to the Millie story. Okay, go live in your car. It's better than this. And I know the screaming from the rafters is it's not that easy to leave and all that case. I understand that, but at the same time, just leave. I don't know what else to say.
Anyway, so my favorite scene was
part.
The torture. Yeah, the torture part. I already mentioned it.
Yeah. I think the torture, really the only part that I actually liked was ooh, this is definitely the best part of the book, was when Andrew's mom told her pretty much good riddance, he deserved it. Because not he deserved it because he was an asshole. It's because he couldn't keep you in line. He deserves it. Holy shit, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah, I love it.
So I love that. That was awesome. It's now you get it.
What they should have done too, what would really put the cherry on top, is she sees his dad and he smiles and he's missing teeth, and you're oh fuck, oh this chick is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my favorite quote unquote part, but whatever. Yeah. What about character? Do we both agreeing that it's Andrew's?
Yeah,
Andrew's
my
mom?
two were the police officer who just happened to be with the perfect timing, live in the same town and all that, and then the mom.
Yeah, I mean, you have, like I said, I thought they were pretty thin and boring overall, but just so that we're all on the same page, you got Millie, Nina Winchester, Andrew Winchester, Cecilia, who we really haven't talked about, but she seems like kind of a brat anyways. I know she's been through some shit, but at the same time, I don't really get her character. And then Enzo is pretty much it. Obviously, there's some side characters, people at pickup, but that's about it. So I didn't even include your top two, which is fine because they're not really characters, which kind of says a lot about how we feel about the book if we're picking people that were in it for one scene as our favorite. But I agree with you on the mom, and the cop is you're just making it funny because he's just an idiot or whatever the case is. I don't know. What about love? Love hates. What do you get from love?
I wasn't ever bored reading. I thought it was a page turner. I mean, I know you mentioned you sped it up, but I thought it was fine. I was never annoyed having to read. I did roll my eyes a few times, but I mean that's neither here nor there. And I also did think the twist did land. I mean, the problem with these books, when we mentioned it a couple books ago, the lies one or whatever, is you can't just have a person that's bad throughout and then a person that's good throughout, and then Andrew who's a perfect person. You're okay, so there's something's going on here because there's no book, there's no story. If there's just the story is she gets with the guy and then book ends, you know what I mean? So it's you're kind of just waiting for that, and there's not enough characters where you think it's someone else. So that's the twist was still good, but it just was you kind of there's only a couple ways they book could go at that point, which I thought it was an interesting twist though.
Yeah, I thought it was. I agree with you that it was yes, I did turn up the speed, but that was really just so I could kind of get through it in the sense of I was never necessarily like bored reading it. I never had to pick it up and was like, oh, this sucks, I have to pick this up. It was just, it was fine. It was like a peanut butter sandwich without jelly. It's like, yeah, that's nice. I don't want to eat it all the time. Like no milk, nothing, just got peanut butter sandwich. I agree with you in that sense that whether it's a love of mine or not, like it did turn the page. I thought the twist was okay. Like you said, there's just not a ton of characters, and it was pretty clear that this guy who was the best dad and the best husband and super wealthy and hot wasn't gonna end up being that. And funny. He loves Family Feud. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So he's hilarious too. So yeah, it was somewhat clear that he was not the person that he's made out to be. But yeah, I thought it was fine. So like, I agree with you in that sense. Feel free to go on to hate.
I mean, hate, we've mentioned a lot. The biggest one that made no sense the more you think about it is the Enzo, the ground screw person. He speaks English.
Yeah.
But he pretends he doesn't so a woman won't hit on him. Fine, that makes sense. I get that. But why can't he speak English to Millie? It doesn't make any sense. He's like speaking broken English to her, like saying danger in another language. Why?
Danger. Yeah.
Why don't you just say, hey, this dude's a psychopath. His wife's a psychopath. Don't go in there.
Well, no, he likes Nina. He's on Team Nina.
That was my next thing. Why does he like Nina? What makes, other than the fact that they're similar, like he reminds him of her sister, I guess. Which is, yeah. And then he's repulsed by Millie, but at the end of the book, he's dating Millie?
No.
Or did I read that wrong?
No, Enzo's with Nina, right?
I thought at the end of the book, he's dating Millie. I could have been wrong. I was like, wait, what?
I don't know about that. Maybe he was with her because like he was helping like fake dating for the next job. I don't know. He definitely had a thing with Nina, and Nina had a thing with him. I mean, they definitely did the old two-backed beast, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't pick up on that. So maybe that's true, maybe that's not. But I do agree and wonder what the point was of him not speaking English. Obviously, it makes it so.
Sorry to cut in, but Millie is now married to Enzo by the third book. We're not reading the next book. Spoiler, sorry.
Oh,
but I told you.
Well, now I'm not gonna.
Why is he disgusted by her?
Yeah,
and then starts
she
dating
came on
her.
too strong.
I was like, I'm not crazy, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And why does he like Nina? What? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. That was my biggest problem. This dude. Why is he doing these things?
Yeah, it didn't make a ton of sense. It seemed like he could have just said, "Hey, it's dangerous in there," and she'd be like, "All right, cool." As opposed to like, "Pericolo."
Yeah, why say anything?
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's like he actually spoke without much of an accent at all. It's like, okay, yeah, my hate, and it's the only one I have, but it was Millie, and we've already kind of talked about this. Mostly that she had no backbone for the majority of it, and then all of a sudden gets like an adamantium backbone for the X-Men fans out there. And so it just did not jive with what was happening, and there was no explanation for why she was able to do that. Like, just tell me that she is a crazy psychopath that is able to flip, and I'm cool with it. But there was no reason for it, so I didn't really get it.
Yeah, and then the other thing too was just that Nina stays with her husband for that long because he sees everything and I can't get anything by him, so I got to devise this huge plan. But she's competent enough technology-wise to set up a phone that tracks people and get in a private investigator to go do all this research and do all these things. Like, can't you just do those things to prove that you're not crazy? Like, set up a video camera like your husband did, or have that private investigator follow this dude who's locking people up in the attic there. It seems like she wasn't barred enough, or if he was just like slipping her drugs so she like couldn't think straight would make more sense, or something like that. But she, like, there was no like things that were really preventing her from leaving or doing the stuff that she did to Millie. Yeah. She could devise this terrible plan for Millie, but couldn't do it.
Granted, like being able to do the phone tracking thing, she put "Find My Friends" on her phone. It wasn't like she did some
I thought it was a little
hacker shit or something like that.
Yeah, so Millie's just an idiot.
Like,
I guess she's been in prison though.
If all of our parents can do that, then I'm sure she could do it. Whew, that was something else. We should cast it because I don't know if you did, but the movie is coming this year. If you didn't know.
Really?
Yeah, the movie's coming this year. It's going to be a Christmas movie. Like, not, they're not changing the setting to make it a Christmas movie. But it's going to be a Christmas release date. It's directed by Paul Feig, I think is how you say his name. Feig. I'm going to go with Feig. He did Bridesmaids, The Heat. He does like comedies, which is funny. He co-wrote Freaks and Geeks, and he might have wrote Heavyweights with Judd Apatow. I'm trying to understand that, but I'm not sure. Either way, he seems to do comedy things, which is interesting because this is where he's at now. For Millie, we have Sydney Sweeney. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I like it a lot.
A lot. Yeah, she's probably too hot. Like, I think the whole point of Millie is that she's supposed to be like hot, but they're doing like a She's All That kind of situation with this, where
They'll
like,
have her wear glasses.
Wear glasses and put her hair up in a bun, and it's like, oh, she's definitely not hot. Maybe a little Now and Then type duct tape situation. I don't know. Amanda Seyfried as Nina. What do you think about that?
I would go with someone a little older, probably, but I like her.
Well, I like her too, but one, her and Sydney Sweeney look very similar, so like maybe that's part of the thing. Yeah. But she's also not unattractive, and part of the thing with Nina is she's purposely let herself go so that he will find a younger and hotter person. So I wonder if like Amanda Seyfried is doing what Mac does in Always Sunny and just like drinking Ben and Jerry's ice cream all night to become this character. And because of all these movies that he's done, he works with Melissa McCarthy a lot. I actually think it would be funnier and would bring some levity to the whole thing if it was Melissa McCarthy as Nina. You know, she can act a little crazy for sure. She can play that housewife type situation for sure. So that's where I'd go with it. Brandon Skelenar as Andrew. I don't know who he is. He seems super hot. He was in Vice. It Ends With Us. I don't know. Drop. Blue-eyed, brown-haired, nice rugged look to him. Seems super hot. He kind of looks like a knockoff of who's the guy from Twister 2 and Top Gun Maverick. Glenn Powell. Yeah. He's kind of like a Glenn Powell type guy. So yeah, he'll do it. He'll do it for me. I'm okay with that. And Michelle Marone as Enzo.
Christ, this dude is too good looking. I don't care for this guy. You don't want him to be too good looking. Yeah.
Yeah. He's the gardener. Like, all right.
Come on, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fine. Whatever. I'm sure it's going to be terrible. But maybe over Christmas I'll watch it and we'll do a quick chat on it or something.
To be fair, if you get turned on by this guy, you're fine. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Be worried.
I wouldn't be worried at all.
I'm like, you got to shoot your shot. Like that's fine. That's okay. That's a 1 in a million chance you got to just try. You know. It's like playing the lottery.
If you threw a rock at this guy's jaw, the rock would break in half. Like I would throw myself at Michelle Marone and just hope for the best, you know. So that's coming out. Did you have any other people that you would want to cast? Or
I would
okay have
cast someone that you think is a bad person as Nina. So I'd probably have done like a Jennifer Lopez. I think can play that kind of role.
Okay, I feel like Amanda Seyfried can do it, but okay.
Or like Emily Blunt's done a really good job with that, where she for whatever reason can do a good job of looking like an alcoholic, or like she's done that in a couple movies. And so she's like great. That look.
Love me some Emily Blunt.
Yeah. And then for the guy, I think you need someone that's known as a really good guy. So I would have done Andrew Garfield, where that transition becomes a little more rugged.
I feel like he needs more of a physical ability. Like Andrew Garfield's not like a physical presence. I feel like this guy needs to have some sort of physical presence.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, because like Jennifer Lopez could beat him up, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Jennifer Lopez just slap Andrew Garfield.
But it's not the physical element he's holding over.
No, I know, like but you just need, I feel like you need some of that.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, that's fair. All right. Yep.
Not like, oh, shucks, guy next door kind of situation.
Or maybe a Glenn Powell would be good then.
Yeah,
all right.
For sure.
Because Glenn, he plays a nice guy usually.
I think for Enzo, you just do Fred Armisen's character from Euro Trip.
Excuse me?
Excuse
It's like, I don't even think you speak Italian.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, they're just doing the Inglorious Bastards. Like, oh, buongiorno. It's like, this guy's supposed to be Italian? I don't get it. That was the Housemaid. Keith, who's the book for, and how many buddies you giving it? How many stars?
Well, it's it got recommended by the SGF,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
for her, and a lot of her friends have liked it too. So, yep, that's who it's for. I mean, people that like thrillers, I guess. I also think people that like the payoff at the end. There's good payoff, obviously, with the torture stuff, so people are into that. I give it a 2.5. Again, I wasn't angry ever reading it. I didn't love it. So that's where I sit. What about you?
I go for like a 2.25. You know, like 2.25. I'm fine. I'm fine in there. Yeah, I think it's for people that really like these types of books, which honestly I feel like we need to take a break from. Because maybe
I like them more than you like them, but yeah.
Well, some of them, like The Silent Patient, which is your favorite, you liked it a lot more than I did. I still liked it, though, and I thought it was a good story. We're reading Malibu Rising now, which is our next book. That book has no twists and turns, you know, and I know that's not what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a thriller or anything like that. But I feel like these thrillers have no character development to them, so at the end, I just don't care. I don't care who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, what happens, whatever. There's no stakes.
They're like action movies, but no action.
Yeah. So even with like a Malibu Rising, where there doesn't have to be twists and turns, but like the characters are interesting, that I'm fine to spend time with them. Where here it's like I don't care that what your next plan is or whatever's going on. That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
So Keith, what do we have coming up next?
We're going back to our girl TJR.
Yeah.
Taylor Jenkins Reid's Malibu Rising. Yeah, we'll have that up for you soonish, I think, maybe.
Well, Keith, thanks for chatting The Housemaid. Thanks to the SGF over there for recommending it. It was no first lie wins, that's for sure. But yeah, I'll catch you for Malibu Rising.
All right.
All right. Bye now.
Bye now.